Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video on Lumber Capital Log Yard. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can turn this into this wood to pure carbon, and I think it might be an interesting video, so let's get into it. We have been successfully making charcoal for many years, but it was usually just for our own use because the amount of labor that it takes to make charcoal, it just wasn't very profitable for us. And I want to make it clear, the kind of charcoal that I'm talking about is lump charcoal. So it's a whole piece of chunk of wood that is then turned into pure carbon. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how that happens and how you can even do it yourselves very easily. So let's come down here. My mom is kind of the person that is in charge of it all, and she goes through it every day and starts the fire up when it needs to be. So she's going through it here, and let's take a look at what we have in some of these drums. So we kind of have two stations going on right now. We have two drums surrounded by cement blocks, which is on kind of like a metal rack here. And then also another two drums that are placed inside this metal thing here. And then the fire is actually lit inside. And this thing we've gotten a lot of use out of, but it hasn't been able to stand the tests of time very well. Here you can see there's already a hole in it. As far as which one of them works better, so far this one still does the better job, but we are trying to create another system that works just as well, because as you can see, this container here isn't going to last much longer. Charcoal is made when you stick it in a low oxygen environment and burn it to about 300 to 400 degrees Celsius. And so basically what you're doing is you're cooking all of the volatile compounds out of it, the things that would basically slow down and lower the temperature when burned. So what you get at the end is at least good charcoal is pure carbon. So that way it can cook hot and bright and with little smoke. And so that's basically the goal of the whole thing, is to try and prevent as much oxygen from getting into the barrel as possible. And that's why we have these little thingies. What are these called?
I just call it a ring.
We call them rings that close nice and tightly around them. So it looks like she's finding some pieces that are done in this drum. Like I said, this one does a lot better than the ones over there. And this has already been cooked once, obviously. We have a good, you can always tell by the weight whether it's done or not. This is nice and light. And that is a good piece of charcoal right there. You might be wondering why we do it in such large chunks like this. And something that always bothered us about charcoal, because yes, we do grill a lot, is that when you get them in the bags, it ends up just crunching up and turning into powder, and you don't get those large pieces that are really great for grilling. And so we've designed a box instead of a bag so that they don't actually get crushed, and we also put them in a little larger. Any fine bits and pieces like this will actually crush down to try and make a powder out of it. Basically just with our feet, we actually put it on a big piece of metal and just kind of stomp on it, turn it into powder, and then use it as a supplement in our soil, which I've talked about. We have compost and we'll add it straight to the compost along with some other good ingredients. So in all, charcoal is really, really great for the soil. So it's another reason why we actually do it here at the log yard. I talked, it is a lot for personal use, but also as a soil additive. One tip I wanted to mention quick was, if you guys are interested in doing this at all on your own, One way to tell whether your charcoal is done, because you'll probably have to do more than one burn. You'll open it up one time in between to see if it's done and kind of see where you're at with it. But one way to tell whether it is or not is you can actually see that this isn't done by just looking at that creosote there. That will actually all burn up when it's done inside. So just by that, you know that none of this in here is going to be really done. And I'll show you what it looks like in barrels where it's all cooked off too here in a minute. So you can see in this barrel how there's nothing along the edges of that, and it's all black. It was very colorful in the other one. So I think that that's a really great tip, because that can really just be hard sometimes to know if it's done or not. I mean, obviously the weight, like I already mentioned, you can definitely tell when you pick it up. Jeez, this is such a pain sometimes. All right, there we go. Anyways, I want to go show you the boxes that we have filled up with the final product here. Let me just grab my coffee. Can't forget it down here. All right, I found us a full box here, and this is pretty beautiful stuff we have in here. See, that stuff is just perfect. I mean, talk about pure carbon, huh? It's just flaky, it's breakable. And a box of this goes for about 65 bucks, I think we were selling it at originally. I don't know what our current pricing is on it. But yeah, so I mean, you get a hefty amount too, and you get the box, and it's also cheaper if you bring your box back for a refill. I think it's like $5 if you bring the box back. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time.